What do you have in your hand? Show me your hands.
I didn't see the guy at the pump as a threat at all. I didn't observe or see anything out of the ordinary other than trying to fill up his car.
About 2 weeks ago, I posted a video showing the paranoid cop in Florida who thought that a guy just trying to get gas with a gas pump in his hand was actually holding a gun.
So I'm driving down the road and he's got something black in his hand and he's moving it like it's a pistol.
At one part in the video, I discussed the fact that an off-duty out-of-state police officer walked into the gas station after the incident and began talking with the officer, and I mentioned that we could only speculate as to what the intentions were. What kind of help is he going to offer? We can only speculate. People apparently tracked down this off-duty police officer from out of state and sent him some hateful messages. Imagine my surprise when he reached out to me and he asked if he could give his side of the story. He actually has his own footage from that day, which he shared with me, and he offered to sit down and speak with me about that incident. So I did, and now you can hear from this man who is both an eyewitness to what happened and also someone who became involved in the actual video itself.
I'm nervous as crap. I don't know what's about to happen. I don't want him to see me recording because I don't want him to put the gun on me. So I don't know this guy's intent. I don't know him from Adam. You know, I just watched him put a gun on somebody. Sometimes you can't trust other cops. We're a nation of ideas, and if we stop talking and we stop using our rights, we're going to end up losing them.
As I mentioned, this is the video from about 2 weeks ago where the police officer in Leon County, Florida, mistook a gas pump in a guy's hand for him holding a gun in his hand. In case you missed the original video, I will post the link to it down below. But one of the interesting parts of that video is this off-duty police officer who just happened to be at the scene walks in and has a conversation with that officer inside the gas station. This is basically the brief conversation that took place between the two police officers that was captured on the body cam featured in the first video.
That's all.
Oh yeah, because the pump wasn't, his pump wasn't on, and he was signaling me that the pump wasn't.
Police officer in Alabama, yes. Okay. Yeah. Just the guy had something in his hand that looked like a gun, and I was like, "What are we doing?"
Yeah, I noticed him as we were coming up.
Okay.
Yeah,
so you saw him with the thing in his hand?
I saw him with the gas pump in his hand, yeah.
Yeah, his pump wasn't working, and he was signaling me that the gas wasn't on the pump.
Is he causing a problem at y'all's store?
No, he come in here every day faithfully after work. He come in here to get gas and cigarettes every day. He don't cause nothing.
Hey, I don't want to hold the gas pump again. You'll start the gas over there?
Yes, I will.
Hey, what's your name? Lawler.
You'll sign the statement and you'll get a picture of everything he did. I just said I had done.
And these were my thoughts on that footage, which basically was admittedly speculation. This off-duty police officer from Alabama walks in the door. He had witnessed this as well. What does he do? He comes in and fist bumps this police officer, presumably offering to help him. This police officer takes him up on that, getting his name and contact information. What kind of help is he going to offer? We can only speculate. Well, he reached out to me and he basically said that, look, you have me all wrong. Other people have me all wrong. I was actually very upset when I saw the way that this police officer was reacting. So I was actually recording him myself and I took video. This is actually that video that the off-duty police officer from Alabama recorded, trying to record surreptitiously of that incident. This was, of course, not featured in the video from 2 weeks ago.
Put your hands in there. Put your hands in the back. Yes, that's what he did. I'm sure there's cameras. Hey, did you pull the cameras?
I ain't did shit. I ain't been entertained. I want to know. You ain't got nothing to say to you. You know what you did. I don't got
That was so wrong. Yeah. I'm sure
That don't look like no wrong when you see this bitch right here swinging.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, you saw what you wanted to see. You saw a motherfucker with tattoos. Why would I be holding the gun like this right here? It who? Man, you saw what you wanted to see. You profiling motherfucker.
They pulled a gun out on him for having the gas pump in his hand.
Hey, I want your gas number though. I need all that.
The WCTV.
I need all that.
And he also agreed to sit down and discuss the case with me. And so here is my interview of that off-duty police officer. What was the first you noticed of the video? Well, I don't think I did the first video on this. What was the first you became aware that this gas pump, gas station incident had sort of hit the internet?
It was right when I checked my Facebook and I checked my messages. I saw that I had a not really even a friend request, a message request from somebody that I didn't even know. And it started out as it was a link to a YouTube video and a message that said, "If you're the guy in this video, you," with explicitive. And so, I'm trying to scratch my head. I'm trying to figure out, where is this coming from? Is this somebody that I arrested? Is this somebody that I dealt with on the street? And then when I saw the video, I recognized it from the Circle K gas station where I was at back over there in Florida. That's when I was like, oh shit, here we go. People misunderstood things because you could watch a video and get zero context. If you got a video that's a minute long or 2 minute long, or it could be a couple sentences, someone is still going to run with it and misconstrue it to what they think is going on when they don't know you from Adam. I was recording myself, and my whole thing was, I want people to understand where I was coming from as a private citizen. I wasn't there on a law enforcement duty. I was literally just there on vacation because my wife and some friends begged me to go on vacation. I don't typically take vacations. I'm a workaholic.
People watching the video, myself included, maybe assumed incorrectly that when you came into the gas station after that incident had occurred, that you were in some way supporting what that officer had done.
Right. And that is totally the opposite of what I was trying to do. I just seen this man put a gun out on somebody that was just as innocently as putting gas in his vehicle. And it blowed me because I've never seen anything like that before. Just literally the night prior, I was binge watching on, what's his name? Izzo's content on cops, on TikTok cops. And also there are some cops not obeying their oath and this, that, and the other. So binge watching that till about 2-3 hours. I hang up the phone. I leave the hotel. We pack up. We hit the gas station to fill up on gas. And then as I'm filling up on gas, I'm taking things out the car. I see this deputy come flying in from one end of the gas station. I see a city police officer come on the other end, and they surround this guy at the gas pump. And I'm hearing, "Put it down, put it down." And as a cop, of course, my first reaction was, what's going on? Look at this. Look at my surroundings and perceive what's going on, because I got my family here. I'm not in uniform. I'm not wearing my badge. I'm not wearing my gun. I'm taking out a floor mat out of my car, trying to get out French fries that my kid left. But all this is going on, so I'm thinking to myself, okay, well, private citizen, I'll just do as any other citizen would do. I'm a record, but it's my first time recording, right? So I'm nervous as crap. I don't know what's about to. I don't want him to see me recording because I don't want him to put the gun on me or put his attention on me, and then something else happens. So I don't know this guy's intent. I don't know him from Adam. I just watched him put a gun on somebody. So I'm recording myself, and then they get it. They start walking up to the gas station. So I quickly put my phone away.
The guy at the gas pump, was there anything that you noticed about him that caused you to start recording, or was it the police that arrived that caused you to start recording?
It was honestly the police that arrived that made me start recording, because I didn't see the guy at the pump as a threat at all. I didn't observe or see anything out of the ordinary other than trying to fill up his car. And it's pretty common that people, if you think your gas line is entangled, that you lift it up to kind of straighten it out. I do that sometimes because it's really long. Your car could be really close or it could be far away. So it's just a common thing. I don't understand how or why the deputy think he observed what he thought he saw, which is not anything out of the ordinary. And so that's what prompted my recording.
What was the first thing that you note? I mean, you're there getting French fries out of the car or whatever, what was the first thing that drew your attention?
First thing that drew my attention was the deputy and seeing the city police officer come at the other end, because I seen him first, and I seen the other deputy come in, and I see him drew his firearm and pointed at the guy. Now, if you were just any other civilian on the street and you point your gun at somebody, you've automatically got a menacing charge. Obviously, there's no criminal activity going on at the gas station. This guy doesn't have a firearm, so you're a deputy, you're a government official, and then you're taking your firearm and you're pointing it at somebody for what? You don't have any probable cause. You don't have any reasonable articulable suspicion that a crime has been committed. You've got nothing other than what you thought you saw that was not happening at all.
So
So
what you saw as far as him, the officer pulling in and drawing down on this guy, concerned you enough to where you started filming the police officer for the first time in your life.
correct. Because I've got a family to think about, right? I got my wife and her friend and my two little kids in the car. I've got my whole family in the car. And it disturbs me because from both a husband, father point of view and a police officer point of view, if a gun battle were to happen at that gas station for whatever reason, my family is now in danger. You yourself, as if you were the police officer or the deputy in that situation and you put your gun on somebody, you are putting everybody else at risk at that gas station if something were to happen. Because I don't know what academy he went to, but the academy I went to taught me that if I'm gonna draw my firearm, you better be ready to shoot. You better be ready to press that trigger because and identify your threat. Don't raise your gun, don't aim your gun unless you intend to shoot. And so that's how I was trained.
Let's give him that he thought he saw this guy waving a gun in the air at a gas station. So he pulls in, and then at some point, very quickly, he realizes it wasn't a gun, it was a gas pump. My biggest problem with that incident is not just that he thought he saw a gun, but it wasn't actually a gun. Like, okay, people make mistakes. When I'm hunting, I see deer bushes all the time, but I don't shoot at them. And once I realize it's a bush, I don't like stalk it. He realizes it's a gas pump, and then he continues this interaction, and he starts to continues to detain the guy, and then go inside the gas station and sort of try to gather evidence against him when he knew that this guy had done nothing wrong. I mean, that's my biggest problem. Let me ask you, as a police officer, all right, you're like on patrol, you're driving by this gas station, you see this guy waving a gas pump in the air, and at first glance you think it's a gun. You pull into the gas station. What do you do? Like, how could this incident have been handled, in your opinion?
If I was the deputy or the officer in his town, I would look, I would observe, and I would pull into the gas station to investigate. If I'm suspicious of what I thought I saw, I would go up closer for a better look and get out of my car and look around. There's nothing wrong with you if you want to pull into the gas station and get out of your car and look around. I do that all the time where I'm getting a soda or grabbing a bite to eat. There's nothing wrong with that. You need to first evaluate what you're looking at. That's how an investigation starts with anything, whether you're investigating a person, you're investigating a crime, you're investigating a suspicion of a crime, whatever it is that you're doing, you need to first take a step back and look and evaluate the situation, because if you don't, you're going to mess up and you're going to violate somebody's rights. Something is going to go wrong and it's always going to turn back on you. Don't act on the first thought or the first thing you see. Take a step back, think about it, think about what you do or how you handle this situation, and then act on it.
You started filming, and then you said you didn't want to be seen filming.
Right. Because I was like I said, I've never recorded another police officer before other than being on duty and having my own body cam. It's different when you're working in a capacity of an officer and you're either with your own agency or other agencies that you're working with or assisting. But if when you're on the opposite side of that and you're just recording as a civilian, it's nerve wracking. It's nerve wracking because, as a cop, sometimes you can't trust other cops. especially if you're a private citizen, because you don't know what's, especially you seen him pull a gun on somebody, you don't know what's in the mind of that deputy. You see deputies and other officers in the news every day for doing stupid things, and seeing this incident that happened at the Circle K gas station, only 100 things are going through my mind. Like, what just happened? What is going on? I don't know this guy's intent, so let me just put away my phone because I don't want him to see me recording. I probably, now that I look back on it, I probably should have kept the phone on him, because it's not illegal to record public servants in the course of their duty. People do it to me all the time.
It's always the safest thing to keep the man out of your life,
Yeah,
police officer or not.
right.
At some point you walk into the gas station, what were you thinking? What were you hoping to achieve at that point?
Well, I know for sure that on my camera, I've got two different videos. One of them that I sent you in a privately is a little bit longer than the second one I had. The second one that I had his patrol vehicle. It had his patrol number on his vehicle, where he works, his license plate number. So as far as that information goes, I have what I needed to report that deputy to his sheriff's office, and my hopes was to contact his sheriff's office, contact who he works for, and maybe gain some understanding of why this happened at the gas station, who trained him, what academy did he go to, and what he thought happened. I basically wanted this deputy to be held accountable, because he put my family in danger. He put my family and he put me in a position as a police officer to where he's gonna have to force me to intervene if something happens. Not in defense of the deputy, but in defense of the man, because you got my family involved. You're putting me involved as an officer, and you got this man who you're suspecting of committing a crime. And if a gun battle happens, then I have to move my family out of harm's way.
When you went in and talked to him, though, you weren't like critical of him. You seemed
No.
supportive.
Yeah, I wanted to be careful with my words, right? Because like I said, I don't know the state of this man. I don't know what his mindset is, or what his intent was, or for what he saw. So I wanted to be very careful with my words and be supportive, as in camaraderie. There's a familiar camaraderie with law enforcement officers. I didn't want him to think that I was a threat, but I wanted to also know who he was and what he was doing, so that I can know further information, who I can talk to when I follow up with this event at his sheriff's office. That was my goal.
So did you ever end up following up with his sheriff's office or making your own complaint or anything like that?
I still need to figure out the complaint process, but I contacted his sheriff's office through Facebook, and I've yet to hear from any reply.
But as we sit here today, if his department is willing to look into what happened, you would be willing to provide the video footage that you have and cooperate with that investigation?
Absolutely, 100%. Because like I said, he put my family involved, being that we were all present at the gas station, and had an incident actually occur where shots were fired, then that's going to be a major problem. And we can't go on, well, I thought I saw a gun and I mistook it and it was actually a gas pump. We can't have those type of incidents happen. And you're a deputy. You may even have more years on me, but you can't have those situations, and that needs to be accounted for, that needs to be handled.
I know he got your information. He never reached out to you as far as helping as a witness or anything like that.
I've not received one phone call, and nobody that I work with has ever said anything about a sheriff deputy from Leon County getting in contact with me.
I think you told me a little bit about your philosophy of being a police officer, why you wanted to be a police officer. Maybe tell the audience a little bit about the way you look at constitutional rights as a police officer.
Really, the passion goes all the way back to high school. I loved history class. I love studying about the Constitution. I'm fascinated by it. I'm obsessed with the Bill of Rights, our founding, how it came to be, what the principles and the ideals that started it. My family is also very patriotic. My family knows my favorite books are the Federalist Papers and the Anti-Federalist Papers because I like to read. When I look at laws and when I look at policies and the things that go on today, I don't want to look at what we have modernly. I want to look at what started everything. Is this actually constitutional? So even when it comes to the Second Amendment, I'm a huge Second Amendment supporter. So I don't believe, as a police officer, I don't believe there should be any restrictions on our rights, and that includes gun permits. I know there's a lot of other officers that disagree. We're a nation of ideas, and if we stop talking and we stop using our rights, we're gonna end up losing them. It's we the people, and I've always believed it's we the people. It's not we the government. It's not we the public officials. It's we the people. That's automatically what it goes back to. So, and it bothers me that when I swore an oath to the Constitution, I swore an oath to the Constitution of where I work, where I'm employed, the standards that were instilled in me. I take that seriously. So when I see other officers violate that oath or misuse their conduct or misuse their position, it bothers me. It bothers my integrity and bothers things that I stand for. And when I want to hold my goal is I want to hold them accountable.
I think your point of view is what should be fostered in the law enforcement community is a tremendous respect for constitutional rights. And if somebody is filming you or asking you why they need to get out of their car or why they need to give you their ID, perhaps look at it another way. Not like they're challenging you personally and getting upset about it, but look at it from, the point of view that they're trying to exercise their constitutional rights or what they believe to be their constitutional rights instead of just escalating it into an arrest because they didn't comply quickly enough, handling it in a different way. I mean, that could be like 80% of these viral videos that place law enforcement in a bad light are these situations like that where it was completely unnecessary. It was just an ego thing or it was just an authority thing. And, what's wrong with putting the Constitution first and just respecting people who want to assert their rights? I hope that can spread. And it's good that part of what kind of got you feeling that way was watching, videos on YouTube from other cops or former cops who feel the same way you do. I hope that grows rather than just the point of view of, well, F around, find out. And I mean, that is a pro-authoritarian way of looking at life. That's a big government way of looking at life. Let's excessively respect the people's constitutional rights. Most of these situations are all unnecessary escalations, almost all of them.
If I could leave anybody with this, I mean, if you want to, my biggest advice, if you want to humanize the badge, because I know that's a slogan that's carried around way too loosely. The best way to humanize the badge is humanizing people. The best way to humanize the badge is learn case law, learn the Constitution, honor your oath. That's the best way anybody is gonna humanize the badge. So
when you interact with people when you're on the job and you show respect for their rights, do you get a positive result from them or a positive
absolutely,
reaction from them?
absolutely, and honestly, it makes my day because it lets me know that I'm doing my job, and I'm always having a positive reaction. And sometimes I could be having a really bad day just because my coffee spilled. When I'm trying to conduct a traffic stop, and out of nowhere, this lady is telling me I don't know her from Adam, and she's telling me, "Thank you, you're a really good officer," and it changed my entire mood for the entire day. And all I did was treat her with respect. All I did was be courteous to her, because you don't have to come on this job with an attitude. I know that could be a lot of other cops, but depending, I don't care what day you're having, treat people with the same respect and dignity that you want to be treated. I have a job to do. I'm a professional. I'm going to talk to you like a professional. And every person that I stop, I don't care if you've got 6 warrants. I've had people stopped on 4 or 5 warrants, and they're honest with me about it. Respect is given. I'm going to give you respect, the same amount of respect that you're going to give me. And that's how I approach every situation.
Well, there you have it. Listen, I'm always willing to tell the other side of the story. And I love it when people who are actually in videos that I do, especially police officers, reach out to me and provide any context that I'm missing, any details that I'm missing, or provide the other side of the story or some other point of view. You know, a favorite saying of lawyers is that there are three sides to every story: the plaintiff's side, the defendant's side, and then, of course, the truth. Now, obviously, I have no power to tell anyone in my audience how they should perceive things, how they should think. I merely show things, really. So I'm curious to know, does this change your view of the video from 2 weeks ago? Personally, I like a lot of the things that this guy had to say, and I've heard that from other police officers a lot, but almost always privately, because it takes a lot of courage to come forward and say things like that. This is a point of view that I would love to see fostered more among law enforcement officers. As I called it, an excessive respect for constitutional rights. There literally is no downside to it, at least not in my opinion. But I am very, very curious, truly am, in this situation as to your thoughts on this. So please let me know in a comment. Remember, our rights don't end where your fear begins. Freedom is scary. Deal with it.